Lally-ho everyone, I'm the Canadian Gaming Penguin. On July 9th or 10th, depending on your time zone, the letter from the producer live part 65 was presented as part of the 14-hour special broadcast. Presenting the live letter was, of course, director and producer Naoki Yoshida, aka Yoshi P, along with Toshio Muraruchi, aka Foxclawn, acting as the MC. Amusingly, Foxclawn was in a beaver costume, and of course this beaver design is based on the beavers found in one of the Shadowbringers areas. I think I prefer it when he was wearing the mask. With just the face paint, it looks very creepy. Anyways, before I get into the live letter, I'd like to thank the unofficial Final Fantasy XIV Reddit Discord translation team for providing additional translation of the conversations during the live letter, along with the other segments of the 14-hour broadcast. Thank you. Now let's get to the live letter. During the presentation of the live letter, we were surprised with the official benchmark trailer for Endwalker, which is now available to download. A note, the file is on the large size, roughly 2.2 gigabytes, so it may take a while for you to finish downloading it. Part of the benchmark includes the character creation process, which includes the male Vera. Yoshi P would later demonstrate some of the customizations available for the male Vera during the live letter. And of course, I ran the benchmark with just the default Warrior of Light character, and then I dabbled with the male Vera. It was only after that I figured out that you could have the character that you designed as part of the benchmark trailer, so I then designed my main character, or at least I designed her to the best of my memory, and then used that design in the benchmark trailer, as you can see. I have to say, it looks really cool seeing your own character in the trailer rather than just the default Warrior of Light. Also cool is that you can choose, based on a preset list, which gear you want the character to wear. Naturally, I had to test these gear sets out because I've only seen a few pieces of it in-game. Anyways, I digress. After talking about the benchmark trailer, Yoshi P then moved on to part 1 of the live letter. To begin part 1 of the live letter, we were once again given a summary of what is to come with 6.0. We were also told some new information about some of these things. With patch 6.0, there will be new stories. Naturally. We were reminded that this would conclude the Heidelin Zodiac story, and apparently this expansion will also include the most main scenario quests, the most cutscenes, the most voiced scenes, etc. AKA, there is a lot with this expansion. That little tease alone makes me even more excited for Endwalker. Anywho. There will be new cities, and Old Charleon being one of them will be like the Crystarium as the player city hub, while Rads at Hand will be like Yulmore, the end city, so to speak. There will be massive new areas. We also have the new jobs, Sage and Reaper. We also have new dungeons, and these dungeons will be available to explore in Explorer mode at some point. There's also the high-end raid Pandemonium. The normal and savage modes will be released with 2 weeks in between each. That is to say, normal will be released and then 2 weeks later savage. Or roughly that. The first of which of these raids are scheduled for December. There is also the Alliance raid, Myths of the Realm, and this is going to be starting with patch 6.1. We have new tribes, Arcosodra and the Loperites. They will have an important role in the story, but Yoshi P did not elaborate as there are spoilers with that. And we have new threats, the Magus Sisters and Anima. We were reminded that Magus Sisters will be different to the ones that are in Final Fantasy IV. We also have new gear and crafting recipes, and fortunately for us, we were able to see printed shots of the level 90 gear for each of the different jobs. You will also be able to see the different level 90 gear sets in the benchmark trailer itself. It's easier to see them at the end of the benchmark when you're looking at the benchmark results with all the players standing around your Warrior of Light character. Most of the gear has the same type of theme for each of the respective jobs, with some exceptions as some are a little more fancy or have some different colors. The Reaper and Sage level 90 gear was shown earlier when Yoshi P was going through the summary, but in the event you weren't paying attention, here they are again. Some additional updates that is coming with 6.0 include a small-scale PvP mode, and we will have more details about this at a later date. There's also the new residential district for Ishgard coming. And mentioning the housing, they are looking at developing a lottery system for some of the wards in the housing district. The idea is to have first come first served housing wards, which is sort of how it works now. And I say sort of because reasons. But anyway, there will also be some Final Fantasy. There will also be some free company housing wards. Free company only housing wards. And some lottery system wards as mentioned. And then some solo wards. And obviously there's also the apartments too. We were also reminded that you cannot get a house if you're on the free trial, and we were also reminded that there are other requirements to get a house and or apartment in the game, such as raising your rank in the Grand Company. I won't dabble into what more specific details are, as you can find out in a different video that I will hopefully have out soon, but I digress again. Other additional updates coming with patch 6.0 include updates to the Gold Saucer, Island Sanctuary, a new data center Oceania, and we also have the data center travel system, which will be initially locked to regions only. And I don't know if there was an example that was given, but we cannot travel to the Japanese data centers from North America. And I'm not sure if that's a temporary thing or a permanent thing. Anyways, Yoshi P once again went into details about the changes to the values in the game, specifically the decrease that is to occur. So the downscaled values in battle calculations is what I'm referring to. We were once again told some of the reasons for this. Calculations are causing overflow, resulting in bugs, and calculations for enmity are reaching their limits. Flying text has become lengthy. This I can definitely attest to. Enemy HP is becoming monstrously high, and apparently the highest HP amount for the bosses in patch 5.5 was 440 million. Definitely getting high. Types of adjustments that will result with the downscale will be that the increase in gear stats between levels 50 and 80 will be more limited, meaning there won't be much of a change. The overall HP, attributes, and damage values will also be reduced, and the enemy HP and damage dealt will be reduced also. And naturally, experience points will be reduced. Then there is some frequently asked questions, if you will, about this downscale, and so to elaborate further, they had the questions are Warriors of Light getting weaker? No, Warriors of Light are not getting weaker. The adjustments that will occur to the players will also occur to allies and enemies, etc. And then it was asked, will this affect undersized parties? The answer is yes, it will have an effect, but they are going to add a buff to compensate that. I was personally a little concerned about this because it could seriously affect farming parties, but I know that they were looking to try to not seriously affect the part of this Final Fantasy XIV community to their best of ability anyway, so obviously they came up with a buff solution of some sort. I think that's a reasonable solution, and we will of course only be able to tell if it is a reasonable solution once we actually have these changes in effect. And then the final question was, so we won't get big hits anymore, like Fire 4 for 50,000 or Despair for 100,000 damage. Firstly, before I get to their answer, all I can say is, holy henna, those are big numbers. I've been working on getting my own Black Mage to level 80, and I have noticed that some big numbers from Fire 4 and Despair. I did see a 50,000 or higher hit. I think it was like a 52,000 critical hit or something like that with Fire 4 at some point in the last couple of days. So yeah. And now for the answer that they gave is that if the baseline for big damage was 100,000 before, now it will be 20,000. So strong attacks will remain strong attacks. We were given additional information about the belt removal, such as what their plan is. The plan is that belts will no longer be equipable with patch 6.0, and they will no longer be able to be obtained in duties, items, exchanges, crafting, etc., which we already knew. Belts in your inventory will remain there. And belts that are currently equipped in your armory chest or equipped to a retainer will be given to a Calamity Salvager. And it should be noted that any materia affixed to these belts will remain intact when retrieved from the Calamity Salvager. So if you didn't prepare before Endwalker's release, aka patch 6.0, you won't have lost any of the materia or your belts. You'll still be able to obtain them, retrieve that materia, and then do whatever you want with the belts. There's literally no reason to hang on to them. Belts will be able to be sold to vendors, desynthesized, and any materia affixed will be able to be removed, and materia extraction will no longer work on belts. The 35 slots that were assigned for belts in the armory chest will be reallocated. 15 of these slots will go to the main hand, the other 15 will go to the rings slot. And of course that means that that's 30 different slots with the remaining 5, and those will be reserved for a future date. And I of course figure that they will reserve for more Jobstone, for the Jobstone section that is, because once Reaper and Sage are available, those last 2 stones will fill up that space, meaning there would be no space for any future jobs. And next we moved on to the upcoming schedule for the game, and scheduled for Monday, July 19th, so that's coming up real fast. The Make It Rain campaign event is to begin. This is a gold saucer event. I will have more details about this in a separate video. I will note that the special site for the event is now up and available on the Lodestone. Scheduled for Tuesday, July 20th, 2021, we have patch 5.8. This includes miscellaneous updates, probably to fix bugs is my guess, and also the Feast Season 20. Then, scheduled for Friday, August 13th, 2021, we have the Moonfire Fair. Scheduled for Friday, August 27th, 2021, we have the Rising. And scheduled for Monday, September 13th, 2021, the Final Fantasy XV collaboration event will be returning. And we were told that there is a seasonal event replay feature that will be available during this event period. And then we were told exactly what a seasonal event replay is. The quest completion for seasonal event quests will be reset, allowing them to be replayed, hence the name of the feature. And it's also important to note that access to shops and certain items available after quest completion will also be reset. This, of course, means that if you had completed the quests, had access to the shops and all the items in it, if you reset the quest line, you won't have access until you finish those quests once again. And as noted to us as well, and because quest completion will be reset, seasonal event quests must be completed before the event ends, as per usual. And we'll have additional information about this once the event page itself is up. I have to say this is a pretty cool thing to do because it's unfortunate when you've already done an event and there is literally nothing new. This way you can have at least the chance to replay the event, which is something has been missing for events in previous things. I mean, sometimes it makes sense to not have a replayable event because there's a kind of progression in the event storyline, so to speak. But anyway, I digress once more. I will note that you will want to have completed the main scenario quest, The Ultimate Weapon. This is a level 50 quest. I'm assuming that it's going to be required because that's what it was required the last time this Final Fantasy XV collaboration event occurred. So, anyways, also scheduled for mid-September 2021, Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker media tours, and this will be done remotely due to COVID-19 restrictions in Japan. As scheduled for Tuesday, October 19th, 2021, we will have the Moogle Treasure Trove, woot woot, and I would assume that this event will run until the pre-release and/or release of Endwalker in November. And apparently also this will also be around the time that they will be able to show more 6.0 battle changes. As scheduled for Friday, November 19th, we have the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Early Access beginning, and then the following Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker official service begins. And scheduled for Tuesday, November 30th, we have the All Saints' Wake event. And no, this is not a Halloween event, as was pointed out to us. It is the All Saints' Wake. Scheduled for Wednesday, December 15th, 2021, we have the Starlight Celebration. And finally, scheduled for Saturday, January 1st, 2022, we have the Heaven's Turn event. Whew! That is a pretty good map of what's to come with Final Fantasy XIV. And to summarize it a little bit better, I'll show the slides that they used during the live letter that lists the schedule in a nice sort of format. And after going through the schedule, it was at this time that Yoshi P then demonstrated some of the customizations available to us for the male Vera with the Endwalker Benchmark, as I mentioned earlier in this video. Then it was time for the second half of the live letter, a question and answer with Saito, Yosuke, and Yokotaro, and I probably butchered the names. Anyway, I won't be going into details about what was discussed during the Q&A session, as it does contain spoilers for the Nier Raid series, so I'll just say that some of what was discussed was interesting, mostly the statistics that they referenced early on in the interview, and that's where I'm going to leave that. Finally, the live letter moved on to the announcements. The next letter from the producer live, part 66, will be in September, and it will mainly focus on battle-related updates alongside the media tour. The 67th letter will focus on everything else, and it is scheduled for early November, and during it they will reveal additional information before early access begins. The Endwalker Benchmark screenshot campaign has begun, and the entry period began on July 11th, and will continue on until July 26th. I will have a link in the description below to the Lodestone page that goes into more details about the screenshot campaign. There's also a free login campaign that's currently going on. It began on July 9th and will continue on until Monday, August 23rd. And more details about this can be found on the Lodestone. I will leave a link to this as well in the description box below. The Death Unto Dawn Final Fantasy XIV original soundtrack is now available for pre-order. And other announcements were for Japan-only related items, such as the Eorzea Collection 2021, the Final Fantasy XIV Victory Assured Daruma, aka Dolls, and a Lawson and Final Fantasy XIV collaboration for light and dark crystal flavored karage. Karage. As I butchered that word. Aka fried chicken. I have to say the concept of this karage is interesting, and that makes me slightly jealous that I can't have any to try. And yes, I could make my own, but it's not the same. Anyways. And that was the live letter part 65. I don't know about you, but I'm getting super excited for Endwalker, and it's hard to believe that we're roughly 4 months away from its release. Woo! In the meantime, I will be continuing with my playthrough to get up to the end of Shadowbringer storyline, including the post-Shadowbringers content, which of course means I need to get my button gear and get started on that. I will also be doing my usual event information videos about the various events that will be coming to the game. Additionally, I'm currently working on a few more guide videos. The current one and the next two are going to be about Grand Companies, and I will hopefully have the first one out this week. It's taking me forever to edit. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button, and please also consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content like this. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching!